Here. What's up, chat? Happy Friday. It's here. It's 11/19, November 19, 2021. I'm Gun. Twitter.com/Gundacker. And joined by Raj. I tell you what. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. Second thing, Raj, run me them pockets, punk. Whoa.
I did. I sent you on PayPal.
When?
Lost the bet.
When?
Literally.
When?
What, like?
When?
30,
oh, just
30
now.
Minutes ago?
15 minutes ago. Okay.
There you go.
Right.
I mean, I literally woke up. I didn't know they were down. I didn't even catch the game last night after. I was like, they're down. I was like, come on, time to go to bed. Woke up. They let me down. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Second halves of last night were really, really weird, man. So I tell you what, here's my experience. I had 70% Nikola Jokic, right? And talked about him just being an absolute ridiculous play. He actually became a better play statistically. I don't want to say statistically, but his 1.8 fantasy point per minute shots up to 2 with Will Barton in. So I was like, you know what? That's my dude. I'm going to predict a Steph Curry blowout. And he not being the highest scorer on the slate.
Disrespect to the Cavs.
I'm gonna go load up on Jokic, and then what ended up happening is Steph Curry led the entire slate in fantasy points, and Jokic was expendable at his price point. Jokic had like 45 at half.
Yeah, he was going for literally 100 DKP, and I guess that injury is real. Like he actually hurt his wrist. Clearly, the wrist was bothering him. So
yeah, he's
questionable. It was a real thing. And I mean, again with the Cavs, like, do you not know who Ed Davis is? Because I clearly forgot.
Oh, apparently my camera's not on. That could be a problem.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, your camera's not. I mean, I think they prefer my face to yours, so it's okay. Maybe. Make me a little bigger. I might do this solo cam today. Yeah, I wants the solo Solo Jalen Carter Raj camp today.
I don't know. I actually don't know why he did that, and I'm
Yeah,
not
you
quite
got.
sure.
I see Kobe up. Yeah, I always see Kobe in
All
the
right,
thing.
well, Kobe's doing the takes
Yeah, shout
today.
out Kobe. I'm with it.
I guess I could switch to other. My bad, chat. I guess I didn't test it before a lot because I've been waiting for Chronic. I expected Chronic today.
I'm trying to chronic. His boss called him last minute that you got to get this report done or something.
Is that me? Is that me? I'm on the screen now. Let's go. All right, we out here.
I
Surprise! No, I'm here. I see me. So we're good. Anyway, what's up, chat? What up, Darren, pocket quarterback, Lamar Jackson, kickstart, Brody, Mia Moore, Crispy, J. Cole, Jermaine, Cole. Love that. Yo, Gun, throw me on the show one day. I really know basketball. Chronic's here.
Get him, yes, sir. A little late, but he's here.
All right. So this is gonna get a little weird. So I'm gonna have to switch over the different calls. So let's do this real quick. Let's get it out the way.
Yeah.
Chat, give me just a minute. Let me go shoot around one cam. Let me go get the boys. Chronic probably just woke up. Let's pop them open. How you doing, chat? Doing all right? That's good.
We back.
Like we never left. All right, now we pop that open. And now we go show non-video participants to know. And then we wait for Chronic to flip the switch. There he goes. Yes. Okay, now we do this. That'll bring you guys towards the mid. Let's go. Young Chronic on the beat. Yeah. Oh, Chronic. Chronic either just walked in the door. There he goes. What's up, Chronic?
Just got home. Let's do it.
Bro, I was telling Gunn your boss called last minute. Made you finish a report or something.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Nothing crazy. How we doing?
We vibing. What's up, Darren? What up, Josh Gilham? What up, Desmond? Josh Gilham says ton of news already. Yeah, this slate is going to be wild.
It is.
Anybody else I'm missing here? What up, Pinstripe? You got to get YouTube to start the lives at the like screen. You got to get YouTube to start the lives at the like screen. I'm not sure if I'm reading that right. He comes on and it's actually J. Cole. J. Cole. Yeah, what if J. Cole said put him on the stream? Yeah, what if he Young Simba?
That's for letting the people down. I am not J. Cole.
Yeah, so last night Steph Curry led the entire slate fantasy points. Jokic ended up being second. Karl Towns ended up being third. Jimmy Butler fourth. Those were your 50 bombs. Kyle Kuzma, 3 assists away from a triple-double, 40 minutes.
So annoying. This guy does shit all when Beal's out and then suddenly has a big game. It's just so stupid.
They also like took a fat L, right? Like it was still like 50, but yeah, Kuzma getting the 7 assists, 19 real points, 40 minutes, huge for him. So I took stance that I don't disagree with, right? I was like, all right, Paul George gonna be my dude, Jokic gonna be my dude, and then I turn around and like Ed Davis has 30 plus, which isn't like an anomaly. Like I know historically Ed Davis could be a beast, but I just kind of like I don't know. I guess I didn't get lazy, but didn't we all kind of expect the Cavs to get beat up? And at the end of the day, the scoreboard, if you didn't watch the game, you wouldn't really understand the story of how that game progressed. Cavs got out to a lead early, and the Warriors kind of fought back in the second half.
Cavs had that game till like even in the third quarter, the Cavs kind of had that game. It was the fourth quarter is where the Warriors outplayed them.
Steph Curry had this string where he like hit like 4 threes and like he hit 4 threes like assist like 3 times. It was crazy. Yeah. Steph just nutted up.
He's just different. But yeah, hey, today a big slate, lots of news, chat. If you're just jumping on the slate, or maybe you saw the Slate Starter podcast this morning, so much has changed. So we're gonna reference Underdog NBA here, give you the what to watch for, and key news and notes as of 3 p.m. Eastern. LeBron James questionable game time decision. He targeted Friday as his return day, so we'll see if that happens. Jokic is questionable. Luka Doncic is doubtful. I think he actually already has been rolled out. AD's probable. Robert Williams, the Time Lord, questionable. Devontae Graham, questionable. Dennis Schroeder, questionable. Jalen Suggs, questionable. Derek Favors is out. Nick Batum's questionable. Justice Winslow out. Taj Gibson, that's tomorrow. The entire Warriors team is out. Chronic, I don't know if you caught that. Draymond, Steph Curry, all out. Kevin Durant's been rolled out. So for a big Friday night slate where you take your family to the game, see the stars, man, some of these games are not quite the same.
Taking the game off.
It's rough out here. So what that'll do for us is there's a ton of next man up. There's a ton of here, take all of this Kevin Durant, Steph Curry usage, and you have it. Jordan Poole, Bruce Brown Jr., and
Andrew
Wiggins, yeah. So we'll have some fun.
Oh wait, the best player, Bielitsa. I should have been the cover boy today. Bielitsa's 100% should have been the cover boy today.
I made the cover last night when I did not know all these people were out, but we'll see. Anyway, what up, Jeff B? What up, Keith Gordon? New Brighton in the house. Let's go. Yeah, there's a lot of Joshes per capita. I don't think any chat room has more Joshes than we just.
A lot of Joshes out here. Danielle said she had a crazy dream. Christian Wood actually satisfied her. What are you gonna do, Danielle? Only in your dreams. Nobody Chronic. I knew you liked that one.
Have you been working on that one? I feel like
I just
feel like you had that one in the chamber, dog. Like you were ready to fire that one.
Yeah, that one. He just stutter once.
I just read it. It came to me.
I thought we were gonna have a nice little friendly 3-man crew, but now I gotta come for blood. But I guess it is. I mean, you did just send me $20 for taking that L, so I guess I'll get some more.
Go right back at it today.
Leave me out of this, man. I'm the party. I'm Switzerland, man. I'm Canada.
Yeah, Chronic. I was thinking of you this morning when I saw Draymond Green against the Pistons. I was like, okay, a little MSU narrative in that.
Coming home.
He ducking, bro. Yeah, he ducking that Isaiah Stewart.
I ain't Cunningham.
Oh man, not again. This is a comedy show, yo. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun today, chat. I promise you that.
No.
There's one thing this crew will do is have a little bit of fun. Let's go break down one cam. Let's pop that camera open. Make sure you guys are getting a little screen time here. Not more than me, but a little bit, you know? Just kidding. Let's get the chat box font down. Chat, bring the vibes, bring the likes. If you guys are stumbling in here, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, hit that sub button. Trying to get to 6K subs by January 1. It's going to be a grind. We're doing it. You guys see we out here hustling content kind of, right? I got these shorts coming out every day. The goal of the short is to get you guys a little update on what maybe the day schedule is, but I definitely want everyone to leave with a little bit of a smile or oh my god, guns corny. Chronic, I don't know if you saw the short today. A little bit of our Call of Duty run from last night.
I did see that. I was in the background talking.
Oh man. But yeah, hey, this stream also brought to you by RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS, we run DFS. If you guys want to unlock access to the spreadsheet that I'll be perusing throughout the duration of this stream, you guys can unlock it behind the paywall at RunDFS.com. And not only will it have this easy to read, navigate information, such as the index portal, but I'll also be sharing my player pool for both sites. You don't have to copy it. You don't have to tail it. But if you want to compare mine to yours, you can. And then, of course, I have player projections and the player props tab. And the player props tab features some prize pick companion columns. And Chronic, I'm sure you know this, but there's about 40 minutes left in the happy hour, or is it over? I might have misspoke.
It's over at 3.
It's over. Okay, well, my bad. But we'll talk more about prize picks later. You guys know promo code Gundacker. I'll get you in there. We'll have some fun with it. Y'all, the voice is 10 times funnier. Wait, am I not on the camera? Am I? No, I am.
I think he means voice chat.
Voice chat.
Oh, yeah.
Clear lock.
Oh yeah,
That's Quan. That's Quan. Yeah.
I hit the Quan. Yeah, Quan. Yeah, Quan just he's been a YouTube regular for years, but I think he won a week pass the other day. Um, I tell you what, it's a big slate. Maybe we do a giveaway. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. So yeah, if you do get a subscription, not only do you get access to the spreadsheet, you do get access to the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. And yeah, we're in that every day before lock in the voice chat. A lot of times after lock, it looks a little something like this. You open it up, you click NBA chat, and if you want to grab a mic, join the conversation, feel free to do so. If you want to listen in, feel free to do so. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And then also, if you get a RunDFS.com premium subscription, you'll get a voucher towards a Fantasy Cruncher subscription. So a nice little integration, a nice little partnership there to get a little extra utility out of your RunDFS membership, a little extra bang for your buck. Let's talk about all the games tonight. There's a lot of them. And we're going to start with a little bit of Detroit basketball. The Golden State Warriors, night 2 of a back-to-back, taking on the Detroit Pistons. Project start at 5. For the Warriors, this could get weird. Jordan Poole, Damian Lee, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and Kevin Looney taking on Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart. Obviously, there's a lot of moving pieces and potential differences in this Warriors starting lineup. You could get Juan Toscano Anderson, Nemanja Bjelica, something like that. So bear with us. But with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Otto Porter, those guys being out, it definitely gives us a lot of next man up opportunities in this Warriors lineup, and will also move a lot of usage. And that, Chronic, is the Cade Cunningham train, who I was thinking about playing this morning when I was going through the player pool, and the pushback for me was, one, the Warriors defense is pretty clamped up, and two, they were like 13-point underdogs. Well, without Curry, Draymond in the mix, I still think we have a scrappy defensive players here, Andrew Wiggins, Kuminga, guys like the Gary Payton. But Cade Cunningham's usage and involvement is still well into the 25+% per game, and the spread has moved from 13 to 1.5. So a little bit more competitive here, and I think 6,500, 6,400 Cade Cunningham becomes more obtainable, more approachable. I am going to assume that the Warriors will look a lot like the ownerships we had from the short-staffed 76ers in the last 2 weeks, where Tobias and Embiid, those guys were out. You could get really deep minutes on Jordan Poole, who's been a solid play almost as is. Andrew Wiggins, we know that the usage will spike up on him. I'll start with you, Chronic, and throw it to Raj. What is standing out to you from this one? And I guess we got to be cognitive of the fact that we expect the field to be pretty heavy on this game as well.
Yeah, so this game is going to really boil down to which value that you select, and do you decide to play Andrew Wiggins or not? He should, question mark, should lead the team in shots next to Jordan Poole. When he's not super expensive. I think Wiggins is under 7K. Yeah, he's 6,700 on DraftKings. Definitely give me some Poole in there as well. You could get a little freaky with Kuminga, with Raj. I don't want to bury your lead. So Bajeli as well. So I'm kicking to Raj. Raj, you want to talk about Bajeli?
I think Bjelica points per dollar best play in this game for sure. 3,200. I think he can kind of play the Draymond role, have some point forward duties here. Should get his shots at 3,200. I think he has that 40-point upside here in this spot against Detroit, which is a great matchup for him. Like that, you mentioned Wiggins and Poole. I mean, if I'm going to lean towards one or the other, I want to say, like, we saw Wiggins last year in these spots with no Curry, no Draymond, and I just remember him failing a lot. Obviously, the usage is there, so I want to lean Poole, but probably like 60-40 Poole in that case. But Poole and Wiggins, you want both of them. And I mean, you mentioned the other guys, like I said, Kuminga, and also the Gary Payton, just a hustle guy, 3,800. If I could just see him getting so many peripherals if he ever sees 30 minutes in the game. So he's basically averaging a point per minute every time he plays past 4 games. So you give this guy 28, 30 minutes, 30 DKP at that price, I'll take all day, every day. And on the Detroit side, I think it's interesting is Isaiah Stewart, 5K, still with no Kelly Olynyk. We saw what Ed Davis did to these Warriors. Can Isaiah Stewart take advantage of this front court and get you 15 points, 15 rebounds? I think it's possible. I think a lot of people won't go to him because he just hasn't had too many big games way smashed his price even with Kelly Olynyk out.
And think about this though, because remember with the Warriors and how they play, right? Something I've been saying on streams a lot is that they run big man off the court. Well, that's what Steph and Draymond and that small ball. Can you go small ball now without Steph? I mean, maybe, but I don't think it's going to be as effective. I don't think that Detroit's going to have to alter their lineups that you see that a lot of teams do. So I definitely can see some Isaiah Stewart there. Gun, kicking it to you, and how much value is too much value? I know that's only one of the questions in the YouTube chat. How many Warriors can you have?
Yeah, so here's where I'm at on the Warriors. I think one, they're going to garner a ton of ownership. I guess I'll have to be kind of looking at several minute projection sources, but I only had two guys in this Warriors lineup over 30 minutes with confidence, and that was Jordan Poole and that was Andrew Wiggins. And then I just sprayed and prayed 20 minutes on the rest of the Mohicans, right? Kuminga, Looney, Damian Lee, Gary. Like, I don't have anyone here. I didn't put over 20 minutes, so I'll keep my ear to the ground and see if other sources have a stronger lean. Shout out to Josh Jennings. I'll hit up Josh Jennings, see if he has the lean here, but I'm wondering what is the range of outcomes for most of the chalk value here to be average plays, and then the slate still gives us a ton of potential next man up opportunities elsewhere. Kevin Durant's down for the Nets as well. We know Luka's going to be out, and if Jokic is out, what does that do? So I don't feel like I'm glued that I have to get here, but yeah, they're all going to project well points per dollar. But it reminds me of a question I got this morning on the Slate starter video about what is your constant ROI, right? Well, if like you play a 3,100 Damian Lee or coming at 3,400, like the 20 sounds nice because you got your 6x, but will the 20 make damage on a big slate like this? And
you're not winning that one.
Right. So you really have to sell out for ceiling today more so than ever. So maybe don't be as don't be as happy about a mediocre return, but a 220 total here really does make me think that you're gonna want pieces from this game. But I see people in chat talking about having 4 Warriors in a lineup. That feels a little strong to me, so I might try and govern it. Definitely feel like Poole and Wiggins would be the first 2 guys on the top of the list. I do think Damian Lee could pick up some scoring. He's a great new 3K area guy versus had my eye on Patty Mills as well. Without Joe Harris and now without Kevin Durant, I expect a lot of shots for him. Hey, $100 above min price on DraftKings. Damian Lee could chuck up some shots and pick up some real points here, so I don't mind that. And a lot of implied real points here, and I think it's easy to get lost on the Warriors side. But if you're giving the Detroit Pistons 110 real points, Cade Cunningham, I keep making this comparison, but at the All-Star break, if Cade Cunningham, the number 1 pick, is 8,500,
not better than Scotty Barnes.
Okay, buddy. But if he's 8,500 at the All-Star break, we're not stunned, and then maybe we're regretful for not playing him as bullishly at 6,400. So don't get too short-sighted with the Warriors side here, and look at the Pistons. I think the Pistons definitely offer some high predictive value in minutes. Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Cade Cunningham. And you mentioned Isaiah Stewart. Definitely, if he can forego potential foul trouble, we've seen him be point per minute plus in spots. And I think if you get 30-plus fantasy points, you're cooking with peanut oil. 32 minutes against here.
Really quick, and this is just probably another notch against this Warrior value. And we're really quick. So what Gun's talking about the ROI, basically go big or go home, is that you're not trying to main cash in these tournaments, right? Like this isn't a cash gameplay. We're talking about, as Raj would say, 100K or nothing. But Gun, I'm seeing the OU in that game at 200, not 220.
Oh, really?
I just checked ESPN and I just checked the RotoWire. It's at 200.
Let me double check.
Yeah, check real quick, really, just so we can confirm that. But even so, like I don't think this is going to be a super high scoring game without those superstars. Not superstars, but without the main stars and the Warriors.
I think the Warriors actually had a big defensive boost. I mean, no Curry, you put in Poole or
huge catch. I would have been out here looking for 50 Cade Cunningham points. So yeah, if you put both teams at 101.99, right? I guess it does lower the expectations a little bit, a lot of bit. So yeah, that's a good catch. I still think the thought process is still kind of the same here on the Pistons side. I do think I can key in on the main guys, but I think the Warriors is going to be a wide range of outcomes. So I'm wondering, and I think this is the common question in chat, is how many Warriors is too many Warriors? So if you're scripting, Chronic, I know we've gotten you into the 20 max world. Would you set a rule to not have more than 2 or 3 Warriors in a lineup?
So I automatically, when I go through on Fantasy Labs, I know you guys use Cruncher as well. I don't know what's going on outside my window, so sorry. I do no more than 3 of any player of any team. I don't do like those full game, not game stacks, but team stacks. No more than 3, and I honestly probably should be 2. And I think with some of the other value on the slate, we're talking about Patty Mills. We're talking about, I mean, Blake without KD, you know what I'm saying? Like, with some of that other value on the slate, are you really going to pigeonhole yourself into a game with a 200 total? That's all I'm saying.
You're gonna do what to your hole? I know Damron's out there somewhere. What did he say? What did he say? Yeah.
So it's a lot of other places that you can get. You can get different, get contrarian without getting stupid. So probably 2 to 3 max.
All right, looking at last year, since the beginning of last year, I put Curry, Draymond, Iggy off the court. Wiggins had a 26% usage rate, about a fantasy point per minute. So if you give him 35 minutes, I think there's a little room for over a fantasy point per minute. He's looked okay this year. Damian Lee, and then of course Jordan Poole, I think is the guy that really takes flight here. 5,600 on FanDuel. I got him for over 40 fantasy points on FanDuel. Like I'm clicking that moving forward. Same with DK. That's easily my favorite play from the Warriors. Wiggins is kind of the little bit murkier range of outcomes. Could it just be like the other night, Kyle Kuzma, 30 points, and if Wiggins scored 30 points at 40% ownership or something like that, like I could do without that. I think on a 9-game slate, it's not going to be optimal. So yeah, let's get caught up on chat before we move on to the next one. Kickstart says this is going to be tough because you can fit Harden and Jokic in easily. Yeah, keep an eye on Jokic though. Not a lot to play. Andrew Collins says might have missed this, but are we thinking Bielisa shows out with no Draymond? Sounds like
yes.
Raj is with it. And then it's not just no Draymond, right? No Otto Porter Jr., no Andre Iguodala. So he does pick up a lot of that stretch big opportunity. I got him at 23 minutes. I mean, the opportunity cost, the risk
that's
reward.
a little low.
You think 23 is too low?
Yeah.
I think it's fair to think that. I think if you think Juan Toscano Anderson is out of the mix, sure. But if you're giving, I gave 20 basically to Kuminga, JTA, Bielisa. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably I'll talk to Josh Jennings a little bit more in the voice chat to kind of maybe iron out, sharpen up some of these projections here. But I didn't quite know what to do. I didn't know if this is like a punt, play everyone type of game, which is kind of the feel that I got. 3 at least 1. Maximum of 3 Warriors, minimum of 1. Quan, I don't think that's a bad approach. I definitely think Jordan Poole is like clearly number 1 for me, right? Cunningham 41 in a 97-89 game. I'm with it. The Andersons got tickets to the game. Dude, imagine buying tickets to the game last night.
I feel like you shouldn't have any tickets to any game this I was gonna say this week, but today, man, right? All these stars are out. Imagine, like I said, your hard-earned money. I'm not gonna do that.
Nah, it'll be okay. I saw I think I saw Alex retweet or like something, and it was like the Pistons Reddit, and there was like a discussion about how cheap the tickets were to a good Warriors game, and poor dudes. But hopefully they get autographs or whatever. What up, Desmond? What's the play tonight? I'm on a losing streak. Oh man, we got you though. We got you. All right.
We'll get you right.
Let's move on to the next game here. Charlotte Hornets hosting the Indiana Pacers. Project starting 5 for the Pacers. Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, Chris Duarte, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner taking on LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and Mason Plumlee. 215.5 is our total. 1 point spread in favor of the Charlotte Hornets. I guess I should double check all of these. Yeah, that's right. All right. I don't know how I put 220 on that Warriors game.
It was just a typo. Everything else looks good.
All right, cool. So they did drop 10 points from the initial line, though. So we got a fast-paced Hornets team, porous defensive Hornets team. Chris Duarte kind of on the fence here. I think if the Pacers are full strength, even if Duarte's down, I like picking on the Hornets, and this is one of those tier threes where I might just put the whole Pacers team in tier three because I could see Malcolm Brogdon get to 50. The pushback is Jalen Brunson, Jordan Poole, right? I'm not going to have a ton of opportunity left in the point guard area, so I think I got to squeeze him as a tier three, but I do like the spot that he's in. Karis LeVert, I talked about him. He has had over a 25% usage rate in his last couple games, really every game since he's been back. Last couple games have been kind of pace down spots. So this can be a pace up spot. So if that 25% usage rate, that middling 30, there's a world. Here's an interesting pivot point, right? There's still a world where LeVert straight up outscores Andrew Wiggins, whether it be a couple points or 5 points or greater. So he might be somebody I use to get a little bit different than the Chalk Warriors. And then Sabonis on the south side of 9K, 40-50 is a little bit more likely for him in a matchup like the Hornets. And then Miles Turner, I like his DraftKings price point a lot more. I think at that price point, I'm just stone's throw away from DeAndre Ayton. So he is on the bottom side of that seesaw. But I think every Pacer is easily justifiable. And then when you look at the Hornets price points, Fanduel has a sub 9K tag on LaMelo Ball, DK over 10K. And earlier, it's hard to play LaMelo over Curry, over KD, over Luka. But now there's not a whole lot left. And if we're going to be loading up on value, we're probably going to have to spend this money somewhere. And if Jokic gets nixed from the slate, it's Harden and who else? And maybe Melo stuns us with a 50 here. I'm a little bit more enamored with the Pacer side. But Raj, what are you doing with this game? And then do you have any sharper takes on the Hornets?
Honestly, I just kind of agree with everything you said here. I think you can have all the guys on the Indiana team in the pool. We've seen full stacks come through against Charlotte all season long, especially at their prices. Like you said, Miles Turner, 6,400, LeVert, 67, could have a big game here. Brogdon, again, hard to get to just because of how strong point guard is today and the value we have. So again, none of these guys will be core pieces, but they can definitely fall into lineups if you're running 50, 100 lineups. Mention LaMelo Ball, he's fine. I mean, if we're gonna rank studs, like you said, Harden, yeah, I'll probably still take Giannis. I mean, Giannis against OKC, does he play 2-3 quarters? We'll have to wait and see with that one. But yeah, it's Harden, Giannis, and then LaMelo's the third guy. So, I mean, definitely in play. Other than LaMelo though in Charlotte, I'm probably not going to get to any Bridges, Gordon Hayward, or Plumlee.
Chronic.
I'm playing Tatum over LaMelo. I'll play probably PG over LaMelo as well against the Pelicans. So he's further down my list. So, but specifically to this game, Charlotte, like I said, Fantasy Carnival, really giving it up to the front court though. My only problem with playing somebody like a Sabonis is that he's still, he's 9K, but I think he's still kind of priced up compared to what he was doing without LeVert back. LeVert and Brogdon basically are dueling 30 usage guys, and with LeVert coming back, it's been basically killer for Sabonis' usage. The last couple games, 21, 21, 18, 18, 25. And I think that 25 was against the Denver Nuggets, and I'm pretty sure LeVert didn't play that game. So with that being said, he's just point blank period, he's less involved, so he will have to get there, as like a double, a 20 and 10, so his boards will have to be there. Can he do it in this matchup? Yes. Am I telling you not to play Sabonis? No, I am not. He should be low owned. I would sprinkle him in some lineups, but he's not going to be nowhere near my core today.
I'm still stuck. I'm stuck on Brogdon, man. I definitely think it's a big spot for him. If if Duarte ends up being out, you might see Keelan Martin draw the spot start again. Per minute, he's been fine, but between him, Justin Holiday, Torrey Craig, it really doesn't seem like on this slate where we have so many other value pieces already open, it's like really worth the dart throw. For me, so I probably don't get there. We get caught up on chat here. Garrett Palkus says, "Good, it's a coming home game for Jordan Poole."
A little narrative.
Look, contrarian Jordan Poole in our lives for some narrative. What a butthole, Jenkins. Josh says, I'm glad they're resting now before I go to the game on Sunday. Your Raptors are coming to town, Roger. Ooh. Josh,
Let's go.
are you going to watch Curry drop 50 on Siakam? Fred
I'm
Van Vliet?
gonna watch Scotty Barnes shut down Curry if he gets that defensive.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
I don't know if y'all seen Scotty Barnes defensively. We're talking first team All NBA defense with Scotty Barnes.
I feel like I'm gonna get $20 out of Raj a lot. A lot.
Oh man.
So other than Spencer Dinwiddie, the last 4 point guards against the Charlotte Hornets, Steph Curry dropped 56, 36 minutes. Kemba Walker, 39, 31 minutes. John Morant, 57, 38 minutes. And Russell Westbrook, 60 and 42 minutes. So a lot of those guys are kind of scoring intense guys, but Curry also had 6 rebounds, 10 assists that game. We know peripherals are kind of Brogdon's game here, and then same with Ja and Westy. So I really think this would be a potential 50 fantasy point spot for Brogdon, even in a full strength Pacers team. So something I can't get away from, but because of Jordan Poole, because of Jalen Brunson, I probably got to put him at a tier 3, if we're being honest with ourselves. Let's move on to the next game. Los Angeles Lakers of Anaheim taking on the Boston Celtics. Project starting 5 for the Lakers: Russell Westbrook, Avery Bradley, Taylor Horton Tucker, LeBron James, maybe Anthony Davis. Taking on Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams, the Time Lord. We got some news and notes to keep track of. First of all, Dennis Schroeder, left ankle sprain, questionable. This would be his first chance to play against the Lakers since leaving LA as a free agent over the summer. So he wants to suit up, but we'll see. But Mahomes coming to me, and I turned down a contract.
$84 million.
Shouldn't have done it.
That is a rough.
Oh man. And then we were iffy on Jaylen Brown, but it looks like Jaylen Brown has been ruled out for this one. And then Robert Williams is questionable with a knee. So we'll see if he can play this one. So not insignificant news there. If Schroeder's out and Robert Williams is out, obviously we're going to put a little bit more stress on Al Horford, but definitely on Jason Tatum and LeBron and company coming to town. So far this season, the Lakers have offered I think a top 3 pace of play. So you get to bump up the projected or implied possessions for the Celtics. Yeah, Lakers are second in pace. And then, of course, with Schroeder down, we know the usage for Jason Tatum would be even higher than it already is. And I think Tatum's going to play for me regardless. Chronic, sound like you were on him as well. Game after game, we're seeing big games against this Lakers team. And then keying in on the Lakers here, if LeBron's in, are we just priced out of any of them? Westbrook 10.5, LeBron 10 point. It's hard to justify one guy specifically at their price points today. I think a lot of lineups are going to go balanced anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I think AD and Westy got that LeBron out price tag still hanging on to him, and then they didn't give us any favorites with LeBron. I guess the question mark would be, is Taylor Horton Tucker too expensive as well? After a pair of really, I'm a bucket.
If LeBron is playing,
you're right. If LeBron's in,
okay. So if LeBron is playing, I'll be less advantageous on THT. If he's not, I'm playing THT. He's probably going to be. I don't want to say the only player this game that I like, because I really, really, really love point guards against Russell Westbrook. This man basically plays the defense of a middle schooler. He gives it up, just point blank. Period. I think it's still the number 1 DVP matchup. It is. So it's the Lakers, then the Pelicans. So don't want to bury that lead. So THT 5,700, he just gets there, and I think this is probably one of the reasons his usage is why Russ and AD haven't been doing anything, at least hitting this price tag since he's been back. He's good. THT is good. He's basically playing second fiddle, honestly, to AD. Like Russell Westbrook is taking less shots than him. Right. So with that being said, when LeBron comes in, we know LeBron's alpha, and THT probably runs to 4th in the pecking order. So maybe at 50, he's a sub 6K, I know for a fact on DK, 5,800. With LeBron back, I probably have to fade it. But if LeBron's out, fire him up again. This guy's good.
Yeah, I like him too. I do think the final 8 minutes against Milwaukee maybe helped us out a little bit, but we've known that THC can be a bucket. I do think the price point's a little aggressive if LeBron's in, but if he's out, we'll get back to it. But then Jason Tatum, with and without Dennis Schroeder, I think could be a fine play. I mentioned the potential lack of studs to pay up for. Is there a real chance in your mind that Jason Tatum could drop 50 to 60 fantasy points? And I think I could sell out for 50 raw points if the top of the salary column is mostly out or in 13-point spreads like Giannis. Can I get to 50 plus in a pace up spot for Jason Tatum and feel confident about it pre-flop, even if Schroeder was in?
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I mean, I think that's perfectly fine. Like I said, at 10-1, this could be a 50 spot for them. The Lakers they're playing at the fastest pace in the league. So I mean, this is a game that you probably want to target. If no Schroeder, I think it becomes a really interesting question whether you want Tatum or Harden 1v1. I think it's really close.
It's not.
I think you do. I think it is. I think this is not the same James Harden. Let's go. We all think it's vintage James Harden. Like you didn't get those calls. I'm just saying. It might not be that James Harden. So before we all just quickly run to him, it's not Houston James Harden. So Tatum,
that was so bad.
I'm telling you. Okay. I'm telling you.
All right.
Tatum at 10-1. I'll take all day, every day. And I think, like I said, that point guard DVP matchup, Lakers are getting the point guard. There's no Schroeder. Marcus Smart playing 38, 40 minutes. I think he becomes a real strong play there. We've seen the upside. We've seen 40-point games from him. I'll take it at 5,500.
I do need to point out Marcus Smart. Yeah, if Schroeder was out, Marcus Smart 6K on Fanduel, and we know Russell Westbrook will turn the ball over. If we go look at steals per game allowed, Houston leads the league at 11.3. The Lakers are third at 9.4 steals per game allowed, and Marcus Smart's averaging 2.5 steals per game. So could be a big stocks night for Marcus Smart on FanDuel. So I definitely don't hate that call regardless. But yeah, if Schroeder ended up not playing, it could be big minutes for Smart. Maybe a little extra minutes for Josh Richardson as well. Chronic, anything to end cap this one for a move on?
I was gonna say maybe not a Marcus Smart, but the more I think about it, if Schroeder's out, who's the secondary shot taker? Is it Hal Horford at like 38 years old, or however old he is?
Stop.
Against AD, it has to be Marcus Smart. Ideally, I mean, unless you, I don't know, what do you do? Do you play Josh Richardson?
Yeah, I think you literally yes. I think Josh Richardson would get some run here, and then people will hate life when Josh Richardson in a pace-up spot outscores Damian Lee or something, right? I think outside the box, man.
I mean, this is very similar to a Golden State situation. Like Jaylen Brown's out, you'd have Schroeder out. These guys are kind of similarly priced. I mean, Marcus Smart versus Jordan Poole as it becomes very close, and this is probably a better matchup than Poole's matchup, even though they're both premier matchups.
I'd probably just sell out and play them both. I think Marcus Smart's floor is definitely a lot lower than Jordan Poole's implied floor here. And
I think Jordan Poole's a little more shot dependent, though.
I mean, of course, right? But I think Poole's usage is going to be through the roof because if he's not scoring, who do they have any other scorers on their team other than Wiggins?
I mean, Wiggins, Poole, Bielitsa. Yeah. I mean, just like
Damian Lee can score too. So I
don't want Bielitsa to lead my team in shots.
I mean, stop! It's a throwaway game against the Detroit Pistons. You guys are really spicing that one up.
And they're going for 80-2 this year, man. You gotta
talk about it. That's what I was saying. I think if LeBron plays, you just kind of fade all the Lakers because they've all been priced up to where LeBron's out, and I think if he gets ruled in, I'm just not getting any Lakers.
My boy Dang Lazy Mofo says, don't ever disrespect my Lakers by attaching Anaheim to their name. You know how I feel about that.
Shout out to Anaheim Mighty Ducks in the NHL, formerly Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
Quinn. Rich homie Quinn. Horford could be a big usage bump to where he gets more assists than normal. Yeah, especially if Dennis Schroeder's out. I would agree with that. Who stops Jeremy Grant, though? I think Grant, Sadiq Bey, and Cade Cunningham all have opportunity to be great, but let's some of the unsung heroes of the Warriors defense are still playing. Gary Payton, Kuminga, like there's Wiggins, so it's not. I don't expect the Warriors to all of a sudden be giving up 130 or whatever. So
you lose your anchor, J-Mon. That's all I'm saying.
do? Orlando Magic at the Brooklyn Nets. Project 35 for the Magic. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba. He's got hoes calling.
I thought he told you to not do that no more.
Okay. Yeah. I'm doing it.
God, it's supposed to be pull up. That's how you do it. Toronto man.
Up against James Harden, Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, Blake Griffin, and LaMarcus Aldridge. I had a 210.5 total, 9.5 point spread in favor of the Brooklyn Nets as we get an upper inflection. Yeah, that's true. So, Kevin Durant out. Joe Harris is still out. Nick Claxton's still out. So this becomes a James Harden usage sponge situation. So let's go reference the Add More Funds NBA Wowie tool. Let's pull up Brooklyn. And I guess we could really toss it back to the beginning of last year. But since we have a decent chunk of sample size to this season, let's go ahead and bring it to October 19th. Raj with one of the hottest statements of the year, of the stream season. Talking about Tatum. God dang. I know that's going to be. So let's put let's take KD off. I'm not gonna mess with like Clax or anything like that, but just generally telling the story of James Harden on the court for the Nets, Kevin Durant off the court for the Nets. We've got loading 109 minutes of sample size. Harden has a 29.9% usage rate, 1.6 fantasy points per minute. And then just out of curiosity, going to last season with that, we'll leave Harden on, KD off, and let's go ahead and take Kyrie off as well. There might be some Dinwiddie in the mix, some Joe Harris in the mix to alter some of these numbers, but just for the sake of sample size, taking the big three out and making it the big one, Harden has a 34% usage rate in this split, 1.7. So 1.6 fantasy point per minute. Seems like a realistic expectation. We've seen it this year. We've seen it last year. You can say all you want about foul trouble and or foul calls and changes, stuff like that. But the Orlando Magic are coming into this game with one of the worst defensive ratings in all of basketball. And James Harden is at the house trying to show New York what the Knicks can't seem to do, beat the Magic. So Harden's got to be the stud, the pay-up option of the slate. I would assume he's the highest owned big priced guy on the slate, and I really have no pushbacks here. I would also say that maybe this team defense takes a little step backwards as well without Kevin Durant, their best probably individual defender. So 9.5 point spread, I could see that, closing a little bit. The Magic offensively not been great, but at times we've seen flashes of upside, flashes of greatness out of Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba, and Jalen Suggs, hit or miss so far. But I like James Harden quite a bit. I like Patty Mills at under 4K on DraftKings for a lot of shot attempts, probably 10 to 15, most of those being from downtown. And then you can make a case for Bruce Brown here, and I hate playing Bruce Brown, but if not now, then when will I feel great about playing Bruce Brown? And then if you agree with the minute projections on Blake Griffin, LMA, I got them pushing 30. They should net a sizable return. So, the Warriors are looking like a nice team stack, but so are the Brooklyn Nets. And then kind of along the same lines as a Malcolm Brogdon, I like the spot that he's in. Cole Anthony, I think he's just not getting that public respect as a DFS play. But this guy it's kind of like the new DeJounte Murray to me, man. He's out here hustling for 40-plus fantasy points per game, and he has flashed several big games, 50, 60 fantasy point games of upside. So if you think about the potential step backwards in defensive efficiency for the Nets in the absence of KD, Cole Anthony would have to lead the Magic, at least you would assume so, to keep this game competitive. And he's a guy that can flirt with triple-doubles. So I don't hate the idea of putting some Cole Anthony in the mix and even get into a little bit of, I would say game stacks, but kind of game stacks, because I can get to Bamba and Carter frequently as well. Maybe I'm worried about these high block guys, especially like Mo Bamba, getting those foul calls when Harden drives to the rack. But there's several plays in this game I could feel decently good about. So tiering it is Harden 1, Patty Mills 2 points per dollar, Cole Anthony 3, and then I guess the murky waters.
You missed the best points per dollar game.
The disrespect.
The disrespect of LaMarcus Aldridge dropping 40 DKP today.
That's that's my dude.
Tier 1. It's a tier 1 fact. Tier 1. He's about to show Mo Bamba the work. We're about to see some vintage Portland LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm talking 30 and 10 over here. It's just a spot for him.
30 and 10, but I think LaMarcus Aldridge definitely is going to get you that 6x value today, minimum.
Oh, yeah.
30 minutes of Marcus Aldridge against Mo Bamba, the top five DVP matchup. No KD, so the usage would be there. Blake Griffin is a shell of himself. Between him and Patty Mills is going to be the second highest usage guy on that team. Talk about it.
Facts. Gunn is off his game today. Just skip it over.
First of all,
I was waiting on you to mention Aldridge.
Right?
You glossed over him.
I don't want you to put me in a corner where I don't like Aldridge. My projections have him for 40 plus fantasy points, but I don't know. I have like trust issues with this front court, man.
I mean, 40 plus fantasy points. You just glossed over.
So let me throw this at you. Let me just throw out a scenario. Let's say this starting lineup that we're looking at is not the starting lineup, and like a DeAndre Bembry or James Johnson gets a spot start, and Aldridge is off the bench. Do you have that same energy?
He had 30 minutes last game off the bench.
Aldridge always comes off the bench, right?
And then 2 games ago he didn't come into the third quarter.
Yeah,
so I'm just a little.
Played him against the Warriors. That was a you problem, bro.
Hey man, I'm just saying. I'm not anti Aldridge or Blake Griffin, but the safety when I was
an old man against the Warriors. Come on, man.
Okay.
I mean, this is just a spot. Yeah, if he sees 30 minutes, you're gonna have to need him in your lineup. So.
Honestly, I don't think that they can. I like the starting lineup that's projected right now because you got the Twin Towers in Orlando, so you have to match up size wise. What you gonna do? Play Bruce Brown at the 4?
I mean, a neck tat. Like you put him at the 4.
Yeah, good point. Or Bembry. I think they have Bembry as well.
That's literally what I just said. Hello. I'm off my game.
We're not gonna talk about
that. Is not Bembry.
Yeah, like he ain't gonna affect LaMarcus Aldridge. Let's stop. Like those guys are gonna really affect LaMarcus Aldridge.
Okay, all right. We're arguing but agreeing at the same time, and I don't understand the vibes. I like Aldridge, but I'm literally asking if the lineup shakes out. If Steve Nash goes Steve Nash, and Aldridge is off the bench. Do you have the same energy?
I'm fine with it because his minutes outside of the Warriors game, which is just a bad matchup for him. Slow-footed, I guess a small ball team. You can't. I wouldn't play him in that matchup. But he's the minutes are there with no KD. I could definitely see him pushing 30 minutes. He played 30 minutes last night. I mean, not last night. 2 nights ago against the Cavaliers. I'm on the hype train, man. I think he gets probably better usage off the bench anyway, so I might like it more.
Okay. All right. Magic side. Cole Anthony. Raj, you with me on Cole Anthony?
I think it really depends on how many lineups you're running. At 8K with all the point guard and guards we have today, I think it's going to be, it's easy to say, play him in this matchup here. But again, you mentioned the Jordan Poole, the Wiggins, all shooting guards. With Boston, if Schroeder's out, James Harden taking a point guard slot, a couple other point guards, Jalen Brunson in a guard spot, got Bam leading in Sacramento. I think it's tough to get to Cole Anthony here. If running 100, 150, sure. But if you're running, 3 entry maxes, I mean, in 20 entries, how many Cole Anthony are you getting to?
I could do it. It's James Harden defense, right? On
GK,
you got 3 slots you could put him in. On FanDuel, you have 2. He's 8K, pace-up matchup. We said that he was going to do something against the Knicks. He dropped 41 DKP, so, it didn't knock your socks off, but he got there.
Are you going to get a lot of lives with him and Harden together?
It's going to be tough because you want to play Brunson. Exactly. You want to copy and paste Brunson and KP today, so it's going to be tough. But if you're talking about lineups, I'm not going to have 100% Brunson. Maybe not. But some lineups I don't have, I think you can get to a sprinkle. Especially if you're anywhere from 20
it's like Brunson, Poole, and Wiggins you'd all have over Cole Anthony, right?
Not Wiggins. My gut feeling is not Wiggins. And Wiggins is a small forward, though, anyway. So that's fine.
Cry, what can Brown do? What can Brown do for you?
Baby Shark, Bruce Brown. Man,
Yeah, he gets it done. He does get it done.
I'm not on fire about it. To be honest with you, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to let it marinate. You're gonna have to talk to me in the voice chat.
4,200. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. He's gonna get you rebounds here. Gonna get you assists, some points. At 4,200, he could end up being a better play than a Gary Payton or a Damian Lee from the Warriors.
And this is why you don't tunnel vision on the Warriors, right? Because Bruce Brown, you got players like Bruce Brown, and technically a better game environment. We were talking about OU and pace.
Mm-hmm. Well, Patty Mills, that similar thing too.
The Magic run a really low pace, but yes, the defensive efficiency of the Magic is so bad. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you in there. And then Patty Mills, like I said, the shot volume for Patty Mills, like he could. I wouldn't be surprised if he had more shot attempts than Harden, if we're being real. And most of his shots will be from behind the arc. And at 3,800, there's way too much meat on the bone to ignore that. 29, 19, 38 his last couple games. 19, we'd Kobe that into the trash can. But you take out KD and you get 16, 14 shot attempts, double digits from behind the arc. It's definitely a price point that I feel like is wrong. I don't know why. Like this had nothing to do with Kevin Durant. If Joe Harris is out, Patty Mills shouldn't be under 4K playing 30 minutes.
Right?
Yeah, he has been starting the last couple days. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a better play with KD out. So I'm with that. Let me get caught up on chat before we move on to the next one. Justin Sports says, why does Raj always predict the most outrageous outcomes? When was the last time LMA got 30 and 10? You know what's crazy?
24 and 7 yesterday. I mean, a couple of games ago.
He did. Yeah. He did.
Yo, what up, TJ? Shout out to TJ. Yo, TJ, I replayed your dono from the other day that was right at the end of stream, so we did get you some love. I appreciate that. What up, Ryan? Bruce Brown, Blake, or Finney Smith, more fantasy points? Bruce Brown, Blake
Griffin, or I'm going Bruce Brown there.
I do feel like the disrespect on Blake Griffin's pretty strong today. Shell of his former self.
He's been fine. It's just, I just think that his usage isn't there. He's not being that aggressive offensively. Aldridge, just being a lot more aggressive with his opportunities.
Yeah. Blake Griffin is like shooting 35% from the field or something like that. Let me check. He's a bum.
What's up, Obi-Wan here? Joseph C says, is it possible to have a winning lineup of 4 Warriors or 4 Nets on FanDuel? I would probably say no. I mean, say possible. Obviously, anything is possible, but
it's not 35%. He's shooting 30% from the field and 16% from 3.
Not what you want.
A bum.
Yeah,
I just leave it at that. A bum.
So for a slate this big, to answer your question, I usually don't like to get more than 3 guys from a team. If it was a shorter slate, if it's a 4 or 5 gamer, yeah, I'd be all about 4 guys from a team that, just profile for so much value. But generally speaking, a slate this big, I gotta sell out for ceiling. And I don't know that especially we talked about the total being 200, right? I don't know that the 101 point scoring Warriors, unless I can move the needle on some of these minute projections, I don't know that I get 4 of those guys in the absolute optimal nut score, unless it goes like triple overtime or something like that. And the same with the Nets to an extent, right? Obviously Harden, Mills, Aldridge, Bruce Brown, all very justifiable. Maybe they're a little bit more approachable because I feel like I can predict them a little bit better. But at the same time, 4 of one team on a slate this big, it's a little strong. And the Nets, so I guess before we move on, Chronic, does this game stay close or not? 9.5 point spread. Shout out to there is no competition for the sub.
It'd be really no defense played on the Brooklyn side. I could see it. Jalen Suggs being the only person that's banged up on their side. He's truly questionable, I've seen. So I can see them keeping it within reason that you'll get 4 quarters out of your guys. Really quick about the whole question about the 4 in a row. I mean, the 4 players on one team. Thinking about, like I said, if you're playing tournaments, think about ownership as well. If you're looking at that Warriors game and you said these guys are going to be over 30% owned, almost with confidence, I can say that. Well, the utmost confidence. And the game environment that is not the best on the slate. Yes, it's value that you can pivot and utilize. You can pivot to and utilize elsewhere. Might be the ultimate GPP move. Could it bite you in the butt by the end of the night? Sure, right? But like I said, we ain't trying to min cash and ride the cash.
Might be the alternator. That's what you're saying.
Alternator.
It might be the alternator. TJ says gonna try to keep a tight core tonight. Yeah, that's usually my move. Alex says any Franz love for DVP. Franz Wagner 4,300. I got him coming back at about 28 fantasy points or a little bit more on Fanduel. I'd take 28 at 4,300. So if that happened, yeah, there's another pivot point to maybe a chalkier 4K guy. And then, if I do think it cannot be overstated that KD is got to be their best defender, right? I think Bruce Brown may be a little scrappy, but for the most part, Bembry. But yeah, it becomes an even better spot here. So yeah, I don't hate that call of Wagner. And I'll be honest, that's probably not a name I would have even looked back at. I don't know, for whatever reason, I really probably wouldn't have been on Franz Wagner. So that's a good call. He's been dropping 30s 3 of his last 4 games. So yeah, I can get down with that. Let's go, Franz. He's going to pump your lineups up. Let's move on to the next game. That was dumb. Pelicans hosting the Clippers. Project starting 5-4. The Clippers. Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac taking on Devontae Graham. NAW, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and Jonas Valanciunas, 214.5 total. 4.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Clippers. I think Paul George is good to go. I was a little bit worried about the back-to-back. We did have a Q-tag on Devontae Graham, friend of the channel, and then Nick Batum was out yesterday. He's questionable here. Kind of a mediocre total. We do get the back-to-back Clippers. Raj, anything standing out for you? I feel like on a slate this big, there's going to be some games that get the old X button, and I feel like this could be an early candidate for me. Not that I can't justify plays individually, but in the interest of keeping a tight core, I think I could push back against most of these names because of the obvious pivots at the price point. Maybe I'm underselling Brandon Ingram being AK off a minutes limit. J-Val at 8,200 on FanDuel. 40, 50 fantasy points, perhaps. I guess maybe most notable is yesterday, Ivica Zubac had like 17 first half minutes, and the game kind of got away in the fourth quarter, but he still played big minutes in the competitive side of the game. Maybe that's what we might expect if Batum is out again, with Ibaka still in the G League, with Marcus Morris being out. So maybe that's something we keep in the back of our mind. But Raj, anything sticking out for you?
I think Reggie Jackson here, past few games, 16, 22, 17, 16 shots. I think he kind of he hasn't broken the slate yet. Got 30, 39, 24, 30 fantasy points. I think that 40, 45 bomb is coming in this premier matchup, top 2 DVP matchup for point guards at 6,400. I like Reggie Jackson here, especially if you want to get away from some of the chalk, the Jalen Brunsons, the Jordan Pooles, things like that. So I think he's fine. Paul George, I think the stud that you want. 10-3. He's a guy that I'm putting him right up there with Jason Tatum. Exact 1v1. I think it's really close. Could be a 50 spot for him. You'll take that every day. You probably need one of these studs to get you 60 plus with the way these studs are lining up today. And Pelican side, I mean, you mentioned Ingram. I think you take a flyer on him, but other than that, I'm just not interested in anyone. J-Val's just a little too priced at 9-3 on DK.
Yeah, we got to watch J-Val's price go down a little bit more. We talked about this in the last stream. He's priced up for BI to be out, and BI is a black hole of usage. Can't do it. Reggie Jackson, nut matchup, like you said. I don't know. I mean, he had 17 points last game, like real points. The last time these guys played. But talk about a fantasy game. Eric Bledsoe went for almost 40. And it wasn't one of those like fake 40s. It was just like, I'm about to break it up really quick. But he had like 12 points, 7 boards, 6 assists. Just an overall good game. So I'm not saying point chase, but the minutes are always going to be there on this guard rotation with these guys. They're going to get 30 plus minutes almost every single game, as long as the game stays competitive. And this one is only a 4-point spread, so I could definitely see that as well. I like the guards more than I like the front court. I don't think I'm going to play anybody against J-Val. And on the Pelican side, I mean, nah, I'm good.
Nick Batum, questionable with an Achilles. Don't play around with the Achilles injuries when it comes to basketball. In place of Nick Batum yesterday, we saw Amir Coffey, liked the drink, start at the power forward spot. And he played 28 minutes. He did close with the garbage crew. Isaiah Hartenstein. He's not Jokic, but he's Jokic. Terrence Mann, Jay Scrub, Boston. Those were your closeout guys. So put a little context in those minutes. You're like, wow, why did he get so many minutes? But 26 minutes of Zubac in the 3 quarters that they did play. Zubac could be Jakob Poeltl-esque if he get 4 quarters of competitive basketball in the absence of Batum, with no Ibaka, with no Marcus Morris. So that's something I'm keeping in the back of my mind for big field tournaments. And then, I don't mind any of the guards that you guys mentioned. So yeah, that's kind of what I got there. No hot takes, no piping, steaming hot takes. Maybe there's a world where like a Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard outscore one of the chalk Warrior values because of the matchup being what it is. And the Clippers being 4.5 point favorites after falling flat in the fourth quarter yesterday. The Pelicans, they're in a bad spot here. Let's get caught up on chat before we move on to the next one. What up, Cesar? What up, Brooklyn Silver? Says, like, now I got to play Blake in a few lineups to disrespect, but I'm playing Aldridge too. Zubac pulled a Sabonis with a hot start last night. It was really the minute. Zubac's been one of those guys that I know per minute he can produce. Just getting him minutes, and I feel like the opportunity could be right if we get another game without Batum for him to go out there and play some big minutes against a big man J-Val. So maybe they go minute for minute against him. Desmond says, how do we feel about Wendell Carter Jr.? I'm fine with it. I think Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba, they continue to offer you 30 plus fantasy point potential. Definitely don't mind that.
It's an Eric Bledsoe revenge game. Throwing that out there. Just giving information.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Take what you want from it. He played for them last year. They disrespected the man. I'm not saying play him. I'm not saying this is a revenge game.
Right. I do like Bledsoe this year. I've been playing him quite a bit. Probably more than I should, but
that's why I play him as much. I'm like, you know what? All right.
He's come through for me a bunch this year. Let's move on to the next game here. Oklahoma City Thunder at the Milwaukee Bucks. Project starting 5 for the Thunder. SGA, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Darius Bazley, Jeremiah Robinson Earl. We did get word that Derek Favors would be out. The Bucks throwing Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis, 215.5 star total. 12.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe this is the largest spread on the slate. If we pull up that team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, the Oklahoma City Thunder have the second worst offensive efficiency in all of basketball, a minus 7.4 net rating, and comparatively speaking to the world champions, that's probably an uphill battle for them to climb today as the Bucks start getting healthier and healthier game by game. They got Chris Middleton back, and they got Drew Holiday back. Brook Lopez, the last guy other than, I guess, Dante DiVincenzo to return to the lineup. So here we have a situation where there's plenty of value, and a lot of people were off of Giannis against the Lakers because maybe they thought the Lakers wouldn't put up a fight, or maybe they just thought 12 plus K for Giannis and Antetokounmpo, which is too much. Well, Giannis went out there and led the slate in fantasy scoring with 66 fantasy points. So in the grand scheme of it, he was still the top raw point scorer, which is what he needs to be at this price point. But today, kind of like that Lakers game, you have to wonder if this game blows out. Do I get stuck in a situation? Let's go home. Let's go home. Yo, great filibuster. Let's go home.
Let's win some money.
Let's go, baby. Appreciate that $20 dono from Great Filibuster, the homie. So yeah, do we get stuck in a Steph Curry situation like yesterday where we maybe overthink the blowout and Giannis still goes out there and drops 60 plus fantasy points, and with all the value, why wouldn't we take that 60 raw points? Something to think about as Giannis plays at his home court here in Milwaukee. Chronic, I feel like the general reaction here is going to be, we're already putting 10K on James Harden. We're going to have a lot of mid-tiers. We don't need Giannis, especially if we're going to get to like Porzingis and stuff. Is that where you're landing here? I think it's fair to think that way. That's probably the way I'm going to land. But it just seems like last night with Curry's spread and then the other night with Giannis against the Lakers, he still can just go out there and do it. Drop 60, 70 fantasy points, even in a blowout.
If you play 12-3 for Giannis, 11-4 on Fanduel, and he has just an okay game, you're done. Your night's
No,
over.
define okay. Define
Listen.
okay.
If he gives you 60.
He dropped 47 real points and only 66 DKP. And hear me out. I know Giannis, he can get like those 15 board games. Does this game can stay competitive enough? Do we predict blowouts? No, we do not. So let's just say the game is a 13-point game, a 12-point game. I don't see it, man. I don't. I'm not a Giannis hater at all, but he's like in my list of studs, he's probably like 4th on it. James Harden above him. Probably put Tate. Okay, he may be second. He may be second.
He's second. Yeah.
He may be like second on my list of studs. I'm not saying full fade him. I'm just saying it's just a tough get where he's 1,000 more than James Harden. That's tough.
So I mean, I talked about it earlier, but I think people think the wrong way about 12K, 11K people. And I know that. Like
he's 70 plus. No.
He doesn't. He was in the optimal lineup.
Harden scores.
He needs to be the highest scorer on the slate. That's all he needs to do. Because this slate's already going to offer us value. There's probably more value coming. If you're getting the 10x return from your 4 or 5K guys, you don't need 7x from 12K. You just need raw points. 50, 60.
That's assuming that you run pure in every other spot. And you can't assume that.
I mean, you have to do that no matter what when you play Giannis, when you play even Harden to an extent. So I agree with the sentiment there. But I also, I 60 plus, I think, is a good start. If you think he scores 60 today, you should probably have him in the pool.
Projection for 56. I agree with that projection around like 53 to 57. You can get that from James. You're gonna get similar to that system up from some other people as well. I can't do it.
Right, and that's 100% an okay way to think. I just wanted to maybe drive that wedge in there to open up the perspective that raw points are raw points, right? That the quantifier on 5-6x value is really, I won't say lazy, but people stop there and they just get happy with 6x. And the comparison I made this morning is if you get 6x from a 3K player, that's 18 fantasy points. You're almost never going to win a tournament with 18 fantasy points from any position, right?
Especially having 2 of them in your lineup. I've learned that mistake a couple of times playing single entries. Don't do it.
Right. So you want more from your value, and then you just take the raw points from the big boys. And if you think 60 fantasy points is a range outcome for Giannis, and you're running multiple lineups, 20, 50, you should probably have a little bit of exposure to him just because it's there for him. And we've seen teams play down. We've seen tensions be high in certain areas. And this could be a sleeper game where they just let OKC stay around. Now, let's play that range of outcome. If OKC does stay around in this game, how does it happen? Well, it's SGA, Josh Giddey, and the emergence of Lou Dort out here taking more and more shots game by game, double-digit shot attempts, and a lot of threes. And Giddey will take some threes as well, but 11 3-point attempts against Houston, 8, 6, 8. I think it's fair to game script, or if you're going to maybe play some Giannis and look for maximum minutes out of him, maybe it's not a bad idea to run it back with somebody that might keep this game a little bit close. And I think SGA, Dort, and Giddey are the 3 candidates, and Dort's been chucking from 3. So something to think about here. We do need to start tightening the screws a little bit. But Raj, what do you got on this game before we move on?
I mean, I think Giannis is a fine play. I think he'll get there in 3 quarters. If he drops a 60 bomb, it just all depends. Like if Harden goes for 80, you'll need it.
Well, yeah, he's still beatable.
Yeah.
Like
exactly, yeah.
He has to be the highest raw point scorer. So even if he scores 65, Harden 60, like that's what makes him a play. You can still, I think Harden still gets there, to be optimal. But I just think people are so easily to dismiss 60 from a 12K, and we literally saw it last night against the Lakers. It was that 60 was the optimal. It was the highest scorer on the slate. Yeah.
So I mean, I think blowouts are kind of overstated too. I think OKC can keep this game close. Even if it ends up being a 10, 12, 13-point game by the end, doesn't mean it can't be a game for 3.5 quarters. So in that case, like you said, you mentioned Dort. I think Dort at 5K has plenty of upside here. If he can get hot again, 16, 22 shots past couple of games, I don't expect another 50 bomb, but if he can drop a 35, 40 bomb, I wouldn't be shocked at all. SGA, always going to lead this team in overall usage, coming off of 46. He's a guy, on the game side of this game, you play SGA, Dort, bring it back with some Giannis. I think you can get real different in tournaments because I think people will have the inclination just write off this game and make it an 8-game slate.
Yeah, and I wouldn't push back on that either. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat tonight, but just thinking out loud here. Let's move on to the next game. While we do that, we got 140 of the realest OGs in the DFS YouTube streets hanging out with us, and we've got 52 likes. Can we get 100 plus likes today?
Let's do it, chat.
If we do, maybe we'll give out another week pass. I'm thinking about it. I guess Great Filibuster did donate $20. Maybe we can flip that into a week pass for somebody. So, let's get to 100 though before I commit. Chicago Bulls at the Denver Nuggets. Project starting 5 for the Bulls. Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Tony Bradley taking on Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic. We got 208.5 total, 1.5 point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets. And for the Denver Nuggets, we have to watch the status of Nikola Jokic. Last night, Jokic had a right wrist sprain. He left Thursday's game late in the fourth quarter, but the Nuggets did not provide any details as to what might be ailing him. We now learn that he's dealing with a wrist issue. We'll obviously stay tuned for any updates. Coach Mike Malone will address the media pregame around 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 6:45 Central. If Jokic is unable to play, Jeff Green, Jamal Green, and Bol would be likely divvy up the Joker's abandoned minutes. That's a blurb from NBC Sports Edge. Shout out to them for that. So there's...
RotoWire has a blurb that says, Coach Mike Malone suggested Friday morning that there is nothing wrong with Jokic and that the big will presumably play, but the team is still opting to list him as questionable. So take with it as you may. I think he's playing today.
All right. Well, if he's playing, he obviously creates a wedge against the Giannis debate, and we know Jokic in this split has not only been averaging nearly 2 fantasy points per minute, but he's getting Chicago Bulls who really don't have centers. Like, they don't. They have Tony Bradley, right? But they are so undersized in their front court. The absence of Nikola Vucevic is palpable. And Jokic will likely overmatch anyone they stick on him. So if you get some DeRozan on Jokic in the paint, we like to see that. So if Jokic is the full go, and even if that's news that's a little murky by main slate lock, maybe you leave yourself the door open. Giannis is center eligible on DraftKings. If you're using Fantasy Cruncher, you can make Giannis center only or whatever opto you use. Maybe they have that feature. And then, hey, you feel a little bit better about Jokic later before that game tips off. You can global swap Giannis to Jokic, and it would be a 1-to-1 transition because of the $300 difference in price point. So keep that in mind. If he does or does not play, Will Barton exists at 6,400, 6,800, probably a pivot topic of discussion for like Andrew Wiggins. And then the Chicago Bulls, they are catching the Nuggets on night 2 of a back-to-back, and we know they've been really concentrated in minutes. I've got Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. I threw 36 minutes apiece on them, and if you look at the recent run here, you can't really push back on any of it. Zach LaVine, DeRozan being the 2 guys that should pick up the bulk of the scoring. Both of these guys averaging 26 real points per game, and everyone else gets in where they fit in. And Alex Caruso, Chronic, almost won you a tournament the other night. He did have
Shout out to Alex Caruso.
He's the white mamba. He had 10 rebounds, 9 assists. You know the stocks will be there. Almost triple-doubled. He's probable for today with that wrist injury. Where your leans on the Bulls side here? I think Jokic is an easy play if he plays. Do you have any Bulls exposure? Are you anticipating to get to any of these Bulls?
First thing I would like to say is Jokic is a better player than Giannis. The second thing I would like to say is 2 words: Lonzo Ball. So, how do you attack this Denver defense? It's through the point guard position. I understand that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are the useless monsters, but who's camping out that 3-point line while Monte Morris is not playing defense? His name is Lonzo Ball. I think he drops you a smooth 40 today. Book it. I think it's really easy for him. I think this is going to be the minutes are going to be there because the game environment is not that bad as well. The OU is not exactly what you want, but I think Lonzo is definitely going to end up dropping a 40 bomb today. I could definitely see that. He camps a 3-point line. The shot's going to be on. Monte Morris does not play defense. Monte Morris is also like 6'2". Lonzo's like 6'8", 6'7". It's easy money. Easy money.
Yeah. Josh says he wasn't the optimal in DK. He was in the winning lineup for me. By optimal, I don't mean like the perfect lineup. I mean the winning lineup. Yeah. Raj, any fire takes here? Is Raj talk? Raj, you muted.
I'm here. Hold on. Oh, yeah, my bad. I was just going to say, I think Caruso might get a little forgotten here with all the guard value on Golden State. 5,400. I think it's a good spot against this banged-up Denver team. Obviously, I don't expect a close to triple-double again, but at that price, he gets you 35, maybe 40 again. Wouldn't be shocked. So I think in tournaments, he's a great play. I think Jokic outscores Harden 50% of the time here. I think it's a literal coin flip.
I don't think that's not a crazy statement.
Yeah,
I think
exactly,
you would expect him at this price point.
I just think Jokic, maybe it's a little harder because a lot of the other plays are like Ayton is in a good spot, Aldridge, Bielitsa, Porzingis, they could take up a center spot. So I think in that situation, maybe you lean more harder towards Jokic. But again, I think the coin flip. I think Will Barton. I think he's in that price, 6,800. Him, Jalen Brunson, chronic mentor Lonzo Ball. And then you got Wiggins in that same price too. It kind of if Wiggins gets more ownership than all three of those guys, I think all three of those guys have just as much upside as Wiggins, if not more. So I think Will Barton is really interesting in tournaments, even with Jokic. If Jokic is not in, I think he becomes the play. If Jokic is in, I think he's still interesting at 6,800 because even last game against Portland still dropped 43, 19, 8, and 9. I think he's going to chuck 15 to 20 shots here and just kind of stuff the stat sheet.
I know the Nuggets got kind of blown out last night, but if Jokic is not in, they're not 1-point favorites in my book. In my book, you know what I'm saying? I think the Bulls
they shouldn't be favored even with Jokic.
That's debatable. It is. So
Chicago's been good though. So.
Chicago's good.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. And their defense could be tough on Barton, right? If you stick Caruso Ball on Will Barton, if you can keep
Chicago defensive rating. Have they been top 10?
104.2 points per 100 possessions. So if we put that in perspective of the league, sort of from lowest to most, they are top 10 in defensive rating. So yeah, they're plenty above average, and they're catching a short staffed, dead-legged, perhaps Nuggets team on night 2 of a back-to-back. So I definitely, looking at chat, if they're favored, it's got to mean that people are expecting Jokic to play, because I wouldn't have it the other way, right? Let's get caught up on chat. Yeah, they do, right? My boy Zay in the chat says Jokic plays. Jamal subbed him out at the end. Jokic left the game to go check on Mike Malone, who got ejected. I'd say Jokic is 90% playing. Zay Charles, our resident Nuggets fan. That's what I love about this community, is we got Josh, the designated Warriors resource. We know my boy Zay's with the Nuggets. In the baseball season, I got y'all with the Yankees. So I love having a huge fans from different organizations. Raj doesn't count as a Raptors fan because he's weird.
What do you mean? Gun's a Nazi. He's German. So I gotta say.
I mean, I'm not German, but okay.
Oh yeah. Why don't you think you're German? No, Gundag. I swear you're German. Background.
An accent you did the other day.
Liechtenstein, baby.
Yeah, you got some German in you, Gundacker.
Hit that like button.
Yeah.
I can't say nothing without coming off racist here, so I'm just gonna stop. What up, Valdo? Marcano, what's good, Gun? I hope you guys are doing well. Yes, sir. Valdo says, if Jokic is out other than Harden, what other top two? So it looks like Jokic's going to be closer in, but other than Harden, what other top 2 elite plays on the slate are your favorite? You're talking about pay-up options. So I think Jason Tatum's starting to profile as a top guy. And I don't know what your budget is or what you consider top tier. Porzingis is definitely going to be an interesting point of discussion here in a minute. So maybe him. But for the most part, it would just be Jokic and Harden as my favorite 2 guys to go up there and get. I got you guys for the Raps. Don't worry. Yeah, TJ. Trust TJ. We're only at 62 likes, chat. Man, come on, man. Remember, I had a preacher used to say, "I'm doing better preaching than y'all doing amening." It's quiet in this Pentecostal church, man. Hit them thumbs up, man. We need some video engagement to show some love. 100 likes. We'll do a giveaway. A week pass. If that's what I gotta do to get this channel to 6K subs, then gosh darn it, I'll do it. Also, chat, we need some PS5 Call of Duty carries later tonight. Me and my boy Chronic, right? Chronic, you down tonight or what?
I'm playing.
Let's
My
go.
girl, I gotta spend some time with her, but after that,
it's a Friday night. Get off the systems.
No.
Head out, boys.
We out here.
Downtown.
We got 2 games left on the docket. Before we do that, we'll take a pause for the cause and let you guys know about PrizePicks.com. Have you guys heard about Twitch Prime? PrizePicks.com, man. It is my alternate to sports betting because we don't have sports books in Texas yet. Hopefully someday soon. If not, we're going to pick up our bags and move. You guys want to bet against the projection, not against 150 lineups, man. This is a fun alternate, also a good supplement to your daily spend if you are out there grinding the DFS streets, especially for you Fanduel players. If you are already doing the research, which we are, and you're already spending time looking game by game, who would benefit if this happens, who would benefit if that happens, man, PrizePicks is a really, really good complement to your daily fantasy journey every day. And my favorite way to attack PrizePicks, I'll show you guys, is by betting fantasy points. I look at my projection, I look at their projection, I find the biggest differences. A lot of times my projection is a lot higher than some of their baseline projections. So for instance, Jordan Poole has a 32 fantasy point projection. This is FanDuel scoring, and in my projections, I think I was at 40 plus on him. So let me control F Jordan Poole in the player props tab. Here we go. And I came back with 42 fantasy points on FanDuel. So that's about a 10-point gap. So that's probably something that I would really, really like here. I do like Cade Cunningham now that game looks a little bit more competitive. So that's what I do. I use the companion tab in the RunDFS.com spreadsheet, and I try to find the biggest gaps. If you guys want to do that, they got a pretty cool deal. They also help me out. They support this show, keep it free for you guys. For every one of you guys that decides to sign up using my promo code, that's !PrizePicks in the chat. And if you sign up using that link or promo code GUNDACKER, they're going to double your first deposit up to $100. You ain't got to drop the whole 100. You can drop a 20 bomb. They make it into 40. And you can just go out there and make some cards. I know every day Chronic and Logan are in the chat hunting those props. And even though I'm stuck on the fantasy score, you can bet real points, you can bet rebounds, assists, stuff like that. So check it out. What's up?
You could bet free throws made. That's my favorite thing to bet.
Free throws made. Jonas Valanciunas 3-pointers. He's on the slate. If you guys haven't noticed, he's been chucking like 3 threes a game.
Yeah, that 0.5.
So you just make one, buddy. Just make one. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So go check that out. If you guys want access to that spreadsheet to maybe find some leans, go to RunDFS.com. Get yourself a subscription. Try out that week pass. And where are we at on likes? If we get to 100, I'll give one of them away. We're only at 65. I don't think you guys are bringing the heat. I think you guys are bringing the heat to get a free week pass today. We'll see, though. We'll see. 2 games left tonight.
Y'all gotta put those burgers down and pizza down and hit the like button. I'm slacking right now.
Or did you just turn heel? Did you just go Andy Kaufman? This is a bar of soap. Dallas Mavericks at the Phoenix Suns tonight. Projected starting 5 for the Mavs: Jalen Brunson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, Dwight Powell, taking on Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton. 211.5 is our total. 8.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. So Luka's out. Tell him to run it back. Jalen Brunson and Kristaps Porzingis. Hey, last slate we were all there on Brunson. I think us as a bubble were a little bit more skittish on Porzingis. We still had some. And now we get the exact same game running it back here. I feel like this is where our initial reservations could rear their ugly head and be like, yep, that's why I felt that way the other night. But Brunson still profiles as a pretty sizable play. I got him for over 40 fantasy points on both sides. Porzingis at 9K on FanDuel. That's a tall glass of water to sip on. It is. And then on the Suns side, DeAndre Ayton, 6,700 on DraftKings. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
Keep getting us free squares.
Yeah, I was all over that. The last game out. Chronic, I know you're still Team DVP. The Dallas Mavericks are allowing the most fantasy points per game to opposing centers. Sub 7K for DeAndre Ayton. Out here playing 34 minutes. Frank Kaminsky still out. Dario Saric still out. It's just him and JaVale McGee. That's a lock, right?
He even won off that last game, too. Go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the thing that just worries, it seems like last game was a low-scoring game between these two, but I kind of expect it again. But they all shot so well. Like, DeAndre Ayton, 9 for 13, great game. Porzingis, 7 for 20, I guess a bit of a bash in there, but kind of stuff the stat sheet with peripherals. Brunson, he shot 8 for 18 and got 9 assists, 9 rebounds. I mean, is that just, with Brunson, especially with the price bump at 6,700, I mean, do they do that again? It just seems like they all had very good games. I don't want to say ceiling games, but just in the upper echelon games, and there's still downside. Like Brunson at 6,700, I think there's some downside there. He can give you 35, which is fine, but probably not going to win you at that 6,700.
Wait, he was playing when it was him and Luka, no Porzingis. Buddy was going off, right? Like he dropped a 31 and 10 game, and the 10 was an assist. It was
I hear it. I guess a matchup like Phoenix top 5 defensive, right?
Yeah. So I think at 6,700, it's not tough for me to get there, man. It's $1,000 increase, right? So you need 40. I think he gets you 40. Does he get you like 8x though? Like, does he get you a 50 bomb? That's where it gets a little hairy. Yeah. At that price point, if you're looking for 40, I think he gets you there.
Does he outscore Lonzo and like Wiggins?
I think those two, yes, but I think like you're leaving off like Jordan Poole.
Poole, yeah, I thought Jordan Poole in there 1v1 Poole versus Brunson.
I think Poole snap call, but that's because of the difference in price a little bit. I have Poole at what $600 cheaper. Yeah, probably Poole in the matchups a little soft. So like that's what I say, goldfish memory applies both ways, right? You can forget the bad games and know that the good game's coming, but maybe you don't over remember the good game and chase back the points on Porzingis and Brunson to this extent, because I do think we all agree that the Suns at home, solid defense, right? Chris Paul, McCall Bridges, Jay Crowder, Ayton, like these are going to be tough spots here. So if you have a less efficient shooting night, numbers can start going down. I think that 9K on Porzingis that's tough. I mean, that is tough to get to with a high level of confidence, right?
7-8 on DK.
78. Yeah, 7. They only bumped them up $400. Still not the most ideal matchup, right? It's still at Phoenix, right?
Right. He still got there with bad shooting night.
Yeah, he did compensate boards and assists. So
8-7,
I don't know, man. I'm still there on both of them. I think the 9K on Porzingis is there's reason to be suspicious, but there's also like if Porzingis paid off 9K, I don't think you're dead unless he absolutely broke 9K on FanDuel at least. But on DraftKings, I'm still looking for 40 plus. So my projections had both of them still being fine plays, 40 plus fantasy points on the pair. So I'm there on that. Any Suns exposure, Chronic? Ayton is the guy, right?
And then, I mean, if you're a PrizePicks player, I think Chris Paul and his assists has been going nutty. So let me see what his assists are at right now. This is DFS show 8.5. Yeah, that's crazy. I think Chris Paul, if this game is going to stay close like it did last time, he had 4 real points and 14 assists. He does these games where he's just like, I'm not shooting. I'm gonna just feed the squad, and I think you're probably gonna see that again today. And then lastly, Raj, talk to me. You like Devin Booker? Some Devin Booker?
See, I mean, I like it. I just don't think I'm getting to him today. I mean, I'm not running 150 lines. It's just the guard is just so strong. I think he's fine, but like I think I can fade a 50 mom from him and I'll be okay. It's just so strong today. It's one of those days.
Anything I'm missing in chat here? Butthole Jenkins says James Harden or Eric Bledsoe in cash.
Bledsoe, duh.
That's the point. Quan says, nah, Gunn thought he had a care package and didn't have it equipped. Whoa, dude.
That did happen.
Listen, bro. Last night was the first time I played Call of Duty for more than 2 games in like 6 years. Okay, so tell me some slack. I didn't know what I was doing.
Chronic, how do I call it in?
Chronic had it. Chronic has different controls too, by the way. So I knew you could slide, dash it. And I'm like, Chronic, how do you do this? And he was like, you press the left thumbstick. And for me, that's melee. So I'm just in the back of the spawn, stabbing the air. Like, how do you do this, Chronic? And it got bad. If you guys want to see a couple clips, check out the short on this channel from today. A couple fun moments. AP says Jokic will never get run off the court. He is their whole system. 100% agree. Cole Anthony, Lonzo, or Cade on FanDuel. I think Cole Anthony, then Cade, then Lonzo for me.
Then Cole, then Cade.
Did you say Lonzo first? You cut out.
Yeah.
See, I like Lonzo, man, but his fantasy production is very volatile day to day. And I think Caruso, if you believe in Caruso, a lot of his stats that get him there are the stats that Lonzo needs to get him there. So I think it becomes even more volatile. Now, I think you had a great explanation about him chucking threes here, but I think volatility is high for Lonzo sharing the court with Caruso, and then of course the big ball handling guys like DeRozan and Zach LaVine. So I think his volatility moves him backwards. I think if you're on Harden, Cole Anthony is a really nice run back to maybe hedge that game staying close. And then Cade Cunningham. I think the matchup got more competitive here in his usage. And I truly believe Cade Cunningham could be an 8K player in a couple weeks. So I'm going to keep playing with 6K. So that's why I'm there. But I don't fault you for being opposite. Chronic plays with the correct settings. That's why. Listen here.
Also gun 2 legends can coexist. Lonzo and Caruso can get there.
All right. Sauce Factory best cash plays. Man, let me revisit that in just a second. But I think Jordan Poole, Patty Mills, James Harden, probably 3 guys. Or definitely Jordan Poole, James Harden feel like 2 guys I start with in cash, right? But Patty Mills, like, what's the pushback there? Not much for me, so I'm in on that. And then if you guys are...
Can't predict that, right?
DeAndre Ayton on DK is huge for me. And then, of course, if you guys believe in the Aldridge minutes, believe it. That's there for you as well. 69 likes. We need 100, man. Can we get 100 likes by the end of this video? I'm going to have 100 by the end of this breakdown. Raptors at the Kings. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes, the greatest player in the history of history, according to Raj.
I'm just an absolute rookie of the year, going to be a top 5 player MVP candidate for a decade, a couple years.
Pascal Siakam, Kem Birch taking on De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Chemezi Metu, and Richaun Holmes. I have a 221 total. Chronic, am I wrong? 221.5 total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the Sacramento Kings. Don't be mad because The Rock's good friend Shaq called them the Sacramento Queens. Remember that one? Leaving Sacramento. Let me double check that. 221 is high. 221. So 221 is easily the highest total on the slate. And that means we should probably be looking at this game. And if I'm looking at the Toronto Raptors, I'm looking at the high predictive value in the minutes projections on Fred VanVleet, 36 minutes. Gary Trent without OG Anunoby for a little bit, 36 minutes. 6K on DraftKings, really soft. If Gary Trent outscored a Wiggins or something like that, I'm not shocked. Scotty Barnes, a little bit harder to trust and love. And then Pascal Siakam, not on a minutes restriction, 8K to 8,400 between the 2 sites. There are plenty of clickable names in this Raptors lineup. They did win me $20 last night by being bad. I appreciate that. And then on the Kings side... Wow. On the Kings side, I think it's a little bit murkier waters here. I'll probably be more on the Raptor side than the Kings side. I wouldn't hate you if you showed up with some Richaun Holmes to the party, something like that. Raj, I guess for the sake of the Raptors, I'll throw it to you first. What are you doing here?
I mean, so before we kind of got all this value, I thought I was going to be really high on a guy like Gary Trent, who's just been so consistent at that price, just getting you, 35 plus every single game. So I like him. Great matchup against Sacramento. I think Pascal Siakam is intriguing, coming off of a down game here. Again, because of this matchup, he's definitely in play. 8,400 could be a 50 bomb. And Fred VanVleet, I think that's a guy who, at 8,100, his usage actually isn't that affected with Siakam back. It's mostly guys like Scotty Barnes and OG Anunoby who got the biggest downgrade. So at 8,100 against a Sacramento team, I mean, I think you can kind of game stack this Raptors team with VanVleet and Gary Trent and Siakam. All three would be tough, but 2 out of those 3 I don't mind. Scotty Barnes is fine at 6,700. He would be the 4th guy on that list, though. But with no OG Anunoby, I mean, I could see him and Siakam kind of getting the bump from him. So at 6,700, he's intriguing. So I kind of like these Raptors. They're priced right. It's just with all this other value, they'll be hard to get to as core plays. But I think they're kind of like the Indiana team. If you want a tier 3, all these Raptors guys just get kind of 20% or see what the optimizer gives you. I think it's perfectly fine. And on the Sacramento side, man, I mean, Rashawn Holmes, centers have been given the work to the Raptors. I could see him having a big game here, but it's just so hard to get to him with all the centers we talked about and power forwards. If you don't get any Sacramento, I think I'm fine with it.
Yeah, the Raptors defense is really, really good this year. I think I don't know if you want to pull up the defensive rating gun, but I'm almost positive about it.
I think if they're fully healthy, you can make that case. I don't think we have enough sample size of that. Right now I got overall 109.8, which is not that good. It's one of the worst, but I think there's a large gap with no Siakam, Achua. I think when Wonder Twin powers activate, maybe you could make the case that they could be better. But I think right now we don't have enough sample size to agree. But I think we look at these names on paper, we probably put them out. You got anything on Precious Achua, Chronic? Because if Achua's out, Ken Burch is bare bones win price at 3K on DK.
Well, playing him again. So we know that OG's done. Like, he's out right now. Then the Watanabe dudes is out. But Achua's dealing with a shoulder injury. They said that he has a chance to return, but it hasn't been anything back from the coach yet. So we really don't know.
3K. If Achua was out, I could probably move that minute projection up a little bit higher. Maybe Siakam gets some run at the 5. Maybe Banton and Boucher. I correct myself up. But yeah, Ken Burch at 3K really has an opportunity to go full on Ed Davis on us in this matchup. So maybe something to think about later in the night. You know, maybe you didn't want to commit to Burch in the early because 3K there is no pivots at that point. Maybe later on in the night you get some definitive news. You can do some 2v2s. Maybe you got some lineups that are behind the 8 ball. You need to make some switches here. Chronic, any strong leans on the Kings?
Man, the Kings give it up to the center position. So Burch, I was thinking if Achua's out, I don't know. We're gonna have to look up that like Wowie or something to see how often Siakam plays the 5. If he does play the 5 when Burch is on the bench, I'm playing some Pascal today.
Yeah, so I think the Raptors are borderline stackable just because of how many minutes they're playing. They have one of the highest implied point totals on the slate. Catching this Kings defense, and I think if you can grab several dudes at 36 plus minutes, right? Fred VanVleet plays 39 minutes. You're not surprised, and man, you kind of feel ultimate late night hammer positioning too. The last game of the slate, that fourth quarter would be really fun to root on Drake Jr. and maybe even some Siakam. So I will be anchoring some Raptors exposure. Probably do have to taper like. I don't know. I feel like VanVleet and Siakam can coexist. Maybe the
Gary Trent also has the nuttiest shooting guard matchup on the slate as well. They're giving up around 47 fantasy points to the shooting guard position. So hey, 6K. I mean, and he's hot too. It's not like he's cold right now. Like Gary Trent's been balling.
I think he's the elite tournament pivot from guys like the Brunsons, Jordan Pooles.
See it.
Yeah. All right, Chet. That's our slate, man. Plenty of games, man. What a job by us to go game by game here and not run over. I don't know how that even happened, but again, we're doing better preaching than y'all doing. Hey, man, we need 100 likes. 100 likes. I'll give away a week pass at the RunDFS.com VIP. If you want to hang out with us a little bit longer, we will be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord leading up to lock. You guys can get into it by going over here. It looks like Logan's already waiting for us. Click NBA chat, and then you'll be able to listen in on the conversation, or grab a mic, join the conversation. If you just know there's a lot of noise pollution, you can't get a word in edgewise, type something at me. And then while we're in here chatting, I'll be personally carving up my player pool for both Fanduel and DraftKings, kind of tiering each guy's, ranking them. If you guys want to compare yours to mine, we'll have the worksheet tab there. I chop them up as tier 1, 2, and 3s for 5K and above, and then core value and risky value. And then depending on how many lineups you're running, you kind of set your exposures appropriately. So a lot of cool stuff there. And then, of course, the player projections and all that good stuff. So you want to be part of the fun, be part of the action. Go to RunDFS.com. Get yourself a week pass. Chat, fire all the questions, all of them, every single one of them at me. And then I don't think we're going to hit our like goal. Let me see. We're at 79. Maybe.
79. 21 more, chat. The one of y'all slacking.
Maybe.
Put whatever you have on your hand down. Just hit the like button. Just hit it. Just do it.
While we do that, let me get caught up on some of these comments in chat. Andrew Collins says, I had Caruso, Trent, and his hammers last night. Insert Birdman hand rub.
Must have won something. Got Caruso and Trent.
Remember Birdman? Remember?
Like
on Denver necktie in Miami.
No, I was talking about the rapper, but
rapper. I was gonna say, one of the biggest artists. But Birdman just took $100 million. He's like, screw Drake, screw Lil Wayne. I'm gonna take the $100 million and buy a couple Bugattis.
Great filibuster says Scotty Barnes, Birch, Fred Van Elite, all in play. I agree with that, and I think Siakam is as well, right? Gary Trent Jr. Let me scroll up a little bit more. So Sauce Factory had the question, best cash play. So I go to DraftKings, and this is more DraftKings centric. I do think Jokic is a really strong play, but I think if you're wanting to kind of be there with the field, I think Jordan Poole, James Harden are kind of like one of the first couple of clicks that you likely make here. Who would be the insta third chronic? Is it DeAndre Ayton? I think it is, right?
Just best price, and I think the matchup's nutty. I don't think you go wrong with DeAndre Ayton. I'm not saying he's going to be like the chalkiest guy in the world, so there's not like a chalk block play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he should be that guy today.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. So these are 3 starting points.
You think Ayton's chalk?
No,
I think he shouldn't be.
Okay.
He shouldn't be. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And for me, the other guy is like Patty Mills, man. I'm stuck on stupid, I guess. 3,800. I just think the shot volume is going to be so high for him. I know there's going to be a lot of infatuation with the Warriors here, but I can't forget, like, Patty Mills was a great play yesterday with KD in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you take KD out, the shot volume goes up. So I'm there on that. Anything else in chat before we get out of here?
I don't know if he's the best cash play, but I think he's going to be chalk today.
Yeah. All right, so those are 4 guys to get you started with on DK. Otherwise, I think that's it. We are at 84. We're not going to hit the goal. We'll be back Monday. I'll have a stream Monday. I don't know who's going to be with me. But I will be tomorrow morning live with EMAC, I believe, for a live NBA strategy show. So if you guys want to join me for that, that'll be on the Osmo channel. So go be part of that. Have some fun. Support me wherever you can. And I, as always, will do my best to interact with you guys. Twitter.com/Gundacker, Chronic at Chronic VI, and Raj has some crazy stuff that I don't even know how to promote.
That's right. No, Jalen Carter Music. Just follow him on Spotify. Just reached 40,000 streams on the song.
There you go.
Let's get it.
All right, boys. I appreciate your help. I'll see you in the voice chat in just a minute. And we'll be out of here, hopefully making some money. Chat, as always, I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. I hope you guys crush it tonight. If you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. If not, see you guys in the morning on the Osmo channel, or I'll see you Monday afternoon, probably 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, and we'll be grinding onward and upward. It is Thanksgiving week next week, so I guess the programming day-to-day will be a little bit different. Whatever the main slate is, we'll cover. I appreciate you guys as always. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. and go win some money.